U.S. Supreme Court is hearing arguments in a case that could affect access to sexually explicit websites. The case challenges a Texas law that mandates adult sites verify that a user is at least 18 years old or face civil penalties of up to $10,000 a day. Critics argue the law violates the First Amendment and unfairly targets the porn industry because children can still access porn on social media or through search engines.
There's a way to do it, it's just not the way that it's being done.
Look, kids are going to do what they're going to do. You don't ban alcohol because kids can get a fake ID or because they can drink from their parents' liquor cabinet. You do the best you can to try to keep that from happening within reason without infringing on the legal rights of legal adults and citizens.
Well, we've discussed before about morality in media, how they're attacking the porn industry, the anime industry, manga, cosmopolitan, you name it, you got it, gaming. And these are not an organization that's basing themselves on sexual exploitation. They're looking at censorship. They were built on that. They changed their name. So they basically would convince you, oh, we're against sexual exploitation, and we must get rid of these things. Remember, they basically got Walmart to remove Cosmopolitan, a magazine for women that basically has articles discussing on women's issues, and get that removed from the front counter because they called it pornography. Cosmopolitan is a magazine for women and talked about their issues. I said that again. But this is what this organization wants. Now, because with the age verification laws out there, and they're trying to rush lawsuits into the courts before SCOTUS decides that basically age verification or age assurance violates the Constitution. We're already seeing Colorado has already lost their age verification, and a couple of other states, as more states are filing for age verification laws or signing new laws, but it's going to come down to SCOTUS. And these radical organizations are going to throw the lawsuits out there left and right and try to collect money, before SCOTUS rules on this. I say they need to rule on it. But before we start, read this article off of AVN. I just want to thank you those again for commenting, liking, sharing, and hopefully today's the day I earn your subscription. We're like 1320, 1330, somewhere around there. We have slowed up a bit. We are, like I said, we're in the middle of rebuilding. Hopefully, by the time we hit to Man with the Show, the summer edition, we should be fully back in order. In fact, we're not even taking what we call the limited break, which we slow down. We already slowed down as far as what we're putting out. We're trying to ramp up what we're putting out, so we really do appreciate that. And also, we're appearing on other live streams, as we will be starting our live streams hopefully very soon, if not by the summer into the fall, as we're still continuing to set up everything. You can find us on Sci-Fi SNOB on a daily basis, talking about Babylon 5. My next appearance will be in about 2 weeks, I think, is for the season finale chrysalis of Babylon 5 season 1. If you didn't catch the last one, I was on Voice in the Wilderness, parts 1 and 2. Do check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. And go over, give Sci-Fi SNOB, a subscribe there. He's really good. He's got some good discussions on there, and he does need your help on there to move up in the algorithm. We have great discussions on there. Even after the show, when the show's over, we're talking in the green room. We have some great discussions. This is what people want. They want to talk, talk about things that are out there. So once again, subscribe. So from AVN, NOSC sues adult sites for violating Kansas age verification laws. We already knew this, or we reported this before, that this was going to happen. The National Center on Sexually Exploited, a controversial anti-pornography lobbying group. It's not only, and I'll tell you this, because this is what AVN says. They're not only they are a censorship group. Sued the parent companies of several adult platforms in federal court in Kansas on behalf of a Jane Doe mother and her child in a set of lawsuits announced Monday. I think, this is not something that they were attacked on. This is not a sexual assault. So why would they be hiding their names to this point? This is in a case, the civil lawsuit, and it should not be a Jane Doe situation. Targets of the 4 separate lawsuits include the parent companies of Shadowbait.com, Jerkmate.com, Superporn.com, and the company called Titan Websites, which is hosting the company for the hentai tube site HenCity.com. Yes, they're going after hentai also. So that goes to show you they're going after anime. Even though it's hentai, but they'll be going after, this is not something that's not uncommon. Kansas adopted its controversial age verification measure in April. Democratic Governor Laura Kelly refused to sign the age verification bill into law, but the state legislature was able to beat the pocket veto to implement the measure becoming law. See, even the governor did not want this. Now, NOSC has a test case with a Kansas minor and mother as plaintiffs against the companies that don't comply with the venue statute. Kansas law requires pornographic companies to implement reasonable age verification methods, and the companies named in these lawsuits failed to do so, resulting in access to material that is harmful to minors, says Dana Painter, Senior Vice President of NOSC and Director of the group's litigation center. See, the thing about it is this comes down to the parents. Yeah, that's right, the parents. The parents could have added more toward basically to block these sites. You're interfering with the way these companies run. You're throwing out these frivolous lawsuits that basically, if someone goes onto a website and they're not supposed to be there because they're underage, it's not the website's fault. They've done the best they can to keep people out, underage out. But the thing about it is, they're going to say, well, they should be doing more. We just need, you need to check ID at the door. This is not a nightclub. We're not selling alcohol. Reading on, Kansas law requires pornographic companies to implement reasonable age verification methods, and the companies named in these lawsuits failure to do so. There is no reasonable way to do this. There isn't. There isn't on there, because basically, you look to the perspective that the technology violates the First Amendment, when it comes to that. Non-compliance with the age verification law in Kansas could prove costly. The minimum penalties for private enforcement action start at $50,000 per violation. Actions brought by the state government are up to $10,000 per violation. Adult industry firms and professionals have expressed the concern that this could lead to frivolous lawsuits that could negatively impact thousands, including professionals in Kansas. Since these 4 suits were filed in the U.S. District Court of Kansas, this could prove to be a potential lucrative payout for Jane Doe and her child. According to the details provided in the lawsuits, Doe's child accessed adult platforms through an old laptop that had no parental filters.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
So whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Is it the website's fault that the child had access to a laptop that had no filters? Oh, please, court, throw this out.
Damn! You look confused, boy!
And fine NOSC for that, for throwing a stupid lawsuit to this nature. Reportedly, Jane Doe was vigilant in monitoring her child's devices to prevent his exposure to harmful material. Okay, the parent was paying attention, but not good enough. The older device defeated Doe's efforts, NOSC said. Really? How? There's ways of blocking that as well. Software like this has been around for a long time that you could block the internet on certain websites. If your child is getting around it because of the age of the laptop, time to get rid of the laptop. Very simple. If your computers block the access where the child can't get through and you're doing a great job of it, then you get rid of what's not working. Corey Silverstein, an attorney who specializes in First Amendment litigation and representing the adult entertainment industry clients, told AVN that NOS is performative in bringing these cases. Yes, they are, excessively. I am not surprised to see the initiation of this type of litigation, he said, that states that have passed these age verification laws have been eager to start testing them out, regardless of the challenge to the Texas age verification law pending before the U.S. Supreme Court. And Kansas is surely aware that the constitutional defenses will follow. In January, Chris Kobach, the Republican attorney for Attorney General of Kansas, sued the owner of MetArt.com and other platforms. That's one we reported here on this channel. But here it is, once again, a parent not doing all that they can, all that you can be, no, not the Army. But the thing about it is that you have these situations. This is a point where NOSC is overstepping their situation with this parent. They're going out there to look for these situations, or as we call them, ambulance chasers.
You saw this man carelessly and without regard for life and property careen into my clients at almost 85 miles per hour. And who of you will tell their story to my young 24-year-old Miss International wet t-shirt champion nymphomaniac secretary? Yo!
This is what morality and media is doing. See, I don't like calling them NOS. I call them what they really are. Morality in media. They've been doing this for a long time. They went after George Carlin. They went after the radio station that played, the bad words, that, the 7 deadly words situation. But, the thing is that these people need to step back. You don't like this stuff, fine. That's your opinion. Now, me, myself, I don't go to Chatterbait. I don't go to a lot of these live sex sites and stuff like that. I do watch hentai. I'll do admit to that. Because there are some really good hentai out there that has some really good stories. Yes, it has sex in it. Of course it has sex in it. What R-rated movie out there that doesn't have sex in it? There's plenty of it out there in the R-rated and the NC-17. It's part of the story. It's part of the reality to the situation. Life has sex in it. Life has drinking. Life has, it has alcohol, smoking, drugs, all that, sex, drugs, rock and roll, But the thing about it is, these people don't want that. They don't want that at all. These are the new Puritans, as like in that novel that I keep bringing up. That these people, they want to take the fun out of life.
I'm the enemy because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order gravy fries? I want high cholesterol.
A lot of this stuff is entertainment. Like I said, I don't go to Chatterbait. I don't go to a lot of these sites. But, adult films, porn, that's in pretty much almost everybody's life that if they want to have that. If they don't have to watch. And this particular parent was doing what she did. But she had a laptop that basically was older. The child knew that to the situation. Opened it up, went to there, and got online. Now, they don't even tell you what age of the child is. This is probably someone that's like maybe 15, 16 years old, most likely. But the thing about it is, and they make the complaint, well, we couldn't put safeguards on there. Sure you can. There are safeguards, even for older computers. There are ways of getting it locked down. But if you feel that you can't, and you don't want to spend it, then replace it. Plain and simple. People buy older laptops out there. You might be able to make a buck. If it's a good laptop, I mean, how old is that laptop? Is it more than 2 years, more than 5 years, more than 10 years? You know, you might find a buyer out there for it. You know, people are constantly looking for older equipment out there. You know, I recently just got rid of some of my older stuff. You know, just some older computer systems on there after purging it all. You know, people were glad to, come and get it to that point. They really do appreciate that. You know, they say, I've been looking for this. I need parts for my current system that I can't find anymore. This is a free speech situation. This is an obscenity situation. You know, if you catch my obscenity video about Mike Lee trying to go after with new laws, go check that out. But this is the same situation. Song remains the same. This is both sides of the aisle. This is why, you say to yourself, well, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat. I'm neither. I'm an American citizen. Born, raised, proud of it. Have a Spanish heritage, and I'm proud of that too. But most of all, I am an American. I believe in the Constitution. The Bill of Rights, to the point on there. When you tell me I can't watch this particular thing online, or I have to give my ID so I am able to watch something, that's no good. That's no good. But what is good is I want to hear from you. I want you to comment on the lines below there. Let me know your thoughts about this situation on there. It's very important. Because, I know those of you out there have commented on this stories like this before, and they said, well, I don't like pornography. It should be gone to the situation. Okay. Today they get rid of pornography. Guess what? They might go after what you like the best next. It always happens that way. When someone tears down one wall, they're going to tear down the other wall right behind it. It's always given nature. History has told this story many times, and we as a country need to remember it every time and fight for it. So comment, like, share, and subscribe. Really hit that subscribe button. We really do appreciate on that, because there are thousands of videos that you could have hit on there, but you hit on this one. We really do appreciate it. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye bye now.